morning. Welcome to the Sutton Sewer Commissioners meeting, August 12th, 2019. It's approximately 9:04 a.m. All members aboard, and we'll start off with the reading of the minutes, approval of the minutes, which I believe we all have copies of. The original one. Did we need to sign the previous one for some reason?
We never did.
We never did?
I approved.
Okay.
We approved it at the.
I noticed that.
last
So we
meeting.
have, just for information, we have copies of two previous meetings. I guess our signatures weren't on them.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, we'll just sign all three then.
Yeah, this thing.
Oh, I need a motion to approve.
Yeah, all right.
All in favor?
Second.
All right.
Yeah, we had too many meetings close together.
There's 3 pages to sign. Yeah,
This will go with.
you do? Yeah, once you sign them.
Oh, that's right.
Need a pen? Okay. Next on our agenda is an update on on-site engineering, a revised plan to, considering the Phase 1 and Phase 2 merging of Sutton Sewer Extension, which would include the Sutton High School, which is a very positive way of looking at this, the growth in town and the needs of Sutton. And welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be here. For the record, I'm Ray Willis with Onsite Engineering. Since our last meeting, we looked at revised cost estimates for the gravity collection system, which the only real deviation from our previous proposal that we saw here the last time we were here is to extend the sewer down Uxbridge Road approximately 1,000 feet to be able to serve the parcels down on that side. And we went through and looked at Mass DOT pricing and then updated our estimate based on any unit price change. The good news is the majority of the prices are still consistent. There were some slight variations with some bid items, so that's reflected in the new estimate. The other thing we looked at is the feasibility of connecting the Town of Sutton High School campus to the gravity collection system, which is part of Phase 1 that you referred to. We looked at some of the information and provided an estimate for that work. In addition to that, we will be performing some geoprobes this week, Thursday and Friday, to assess the subsurface conditions along Boston Road and Putnam Hill Road from the station, from the school campus to the downtown. For our estimate, we had to make some basically assumptions, for rock and other soil conditions. So hopefully this week, when we get that information, we can fine tune this estimate so it goes down, not up. So
Okay. That's always a good thing.
yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, so you're, based on our previous presentation, and there's also a little bit of a change on how we're presenting the going down Boston Road. It's going to be gravity.
Yes. So the new layout would include a gravity sewer from Uxbridge Road down Boston Road, low pressure sewer on Singletary. The pump station would be sited at 254 Boston Road, somewhere in that vicinity, and then force main all the way down to Clubhouse Lane, where the existing gravity sewer is.
Okay. Any questions?
And there's gonna be what, you call it studs or spuds? for the
Yeah.
connection?
Yeah, so there'll be stubs on the gravity side to each parcel along the way. Yeah.
Now, is that to be, kind of slow? Does that include the laterals that go to the house?
That includes up to the property line.
Up to the
Right.
property
Yeah,
line?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Donald?
Ray, my question is there was a lot of discussion on a previous presentation to the townspeople that there was a lot of question about high pressure lines, connecting to high pressure lines, and whether or not there'd be capabilities of doing it. By relocating this pump station, that eliminates any discussion or any concerns in regards to high pressure and an additional $500,000 that was actually thrown out there.
Yeah, generally speaking, the way it was configured before with the pump station on Singletary Ave, there was a lot of downhill pumping. So this new layout eliminates all of that for the overall majority. There is still some downhill pumping on the other segments, but not as much, so it's not so much a concern as far as the low pressure sewer goes.
Right,
Or future connections to that force main.
How far, when you get down to Clubhouse Way, is that Wainwright section going to be a lateral there?
Yeah, we are proposing to put a stub there, and all that flow has been put into the calculations for the size
Okay,
of the force
so-
main and all that.
Any other questions we have for the gentleman?
The spuds that you're talking, did that include the laterals of the well too, or not?
Excuse me?
So that the houses,
Yeah.
the residents can connect to it, right?
Yeah, so the way that this is set up is you'd have a lateral from the main in the street up into the property line,
Right.
or just beyond it, a foot or two, and then from that point on, typically that's the responsibility of the
Right,
homeowner,
yeah.
yeah.
I realize that,
Yeah.
okay, but there's a connection that they can get to.
Yeah, that's the whole plan on the gravity side, to make sure that all those connections are in place.
Okay. And that's the same for the school, the
The school's a little different, just because that's a force main, it would be force main all the way up. So there are no laterals for that, however, they would have the ability to tie into that if they wish to do so.
Okay, that's something we got.
Like in each case, the homeowners are going to have their own cost of hooking into the system, where it's the lateral is left off at the property
Yeah.
line. Right.
But not on this, but on the high pressure line, you don't have it going to the property.
No, not on that scenario. I mean, something the town could entertain if they wanted, if they had a desire to tie in and they know they want to, we could easily put the stub on the line right then and there.
Yeah, because I thought that was a concern with talking about a pressure line that, where nobody could basically hook into it unless they.
Yeah, we actually
had a
talked
Problem
with,
with that. They
yeah,
didn't
we
really-
actually spoke with the manufacturer's rep and went over the scenarios both for Boston Road as well as the school, and they don't see any issues with if later on people wanted to connect with individual low-pressure grinder systems onto that main force main.
Oh,
Donald, you had another question?
Yeah, well, I think that we're going a little early to determine on this extension to the school, because it's just all came about, but, we're not eliminating the, services to the property line on this design yet. Is that correct, Ray?
Are you talking about the schools
The school.
section?
Yeah. The people en route,
Oh, yeah, they would have the ability to connect in the future.
right.
It's
And
just a matter of
just a matter, we're gonna need to step
if you're
out.
gonna
Right.
actually provide the stubs, which on a force main line, I would probably recommend that if they're gonna connect, either they're gonna connect right away, or as they do it, connect in there in the future. Either that, or the other thing you can do is just leave a fitting, but not
yeah,
actually extend the lateral all the way over.
well,
One other thing is that on our first presentation, and I'm going back on that, on things that we eliminated and things that we didn't emphasize enough on. And I think it's the total amount of people that could potentially tie into the system. And I do have a list in front of me here, and I think it was, do you have a bottom line figure on what the total was, it 126 or something like that? I think it was.
Design flow wise?
in order for people that could tie into the system, whether it be combined, both gravity and by grinder pumps.
Yeah, I have that on the computer. I don't have it in front of me.
Well, I have it in
but,
front
yeah,
of me. That is
it's at least 75. I would say at least 75 to 150. I'm guessing
Yeah,
somewhere in
I
that
have
range.
that more, you have that.
That's for
in
the
front
whole,
of
that's for item 1 and 2?
Actual connections.
Yeah.
me. Actual connections, right.
But the capacity on that line is basically you could probably get a lot more if you had to.
It's basically on, basically unlimited. And I mean, where we're drawing, doing the design and drawing the, I call it drawing the line in the sand in regards to, we have to stop somewhere here. The potential of people extending the sewer is basically endless in regards to, we can go, I mean, the grinder pumps and Hoss can verify that these grinder pumps can pump over 2 miles. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever-
yeah, and it's based on basically the actual head conditions in the line. I mean,
Right.
there is a limit on the pumps,
Yeah.
and as long as you meet that requirement, you're
Right.
fine.
Right, yeah. And I think that's what we need to emphasize more in regards to, with the people in Sutton, is that, our potential of this here is just, it doesn't limit to what the design
The
is
future,
and what within the
future
But
hookups
it's
that
the
aren't
future
even
hookups,
planned at this point.
That's correct, right.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think
that is
that's-
important, yeah.
That is very important.
Makes them feel more comfortable with the property they may be purchasing or already own.
That's correct.
Welcome, any questions from town manager, Jim?
Just, just with the, from the center of town down to the schools, and, that'll be a low-pressure force main?
It would actually be
High
well, I wouldn't consider it really high, but it'd be a conventional pump station type setup where you had submersible pumps in a tank at the school to handle all their flow, and then the force main would be a 4-inch diameter main, which people could connect into.
And that's roughly, $175,000 to retrofit the,
Yeah.
wastewater treatment plant?
Roughly, yeah, that's what we estimate. There are existing tanks down there that are set up as pump chambers. There'd just be some modifications, changing the pumps out, rerouting the pipe.
My concern with, no laterals being drawn to the properties along the side, going down to Boston Road is, if somebody wants to tie in, eventually they're gonna have to dig up the road. And, that's not a town road, that's a state highway, the M route. And, we'll get probably permission to dig it up once.
Mhm.
But we probably will have a problem digging it up time and time again if somebody wants to tie in eventually. That is my concern about that without,
Yeah, from a operational standpoint, the only concern that I would have if we extended the laterals is that the sewage is gonna, as you're shooting it down the road, it's gonna shoot up the laterals. And unless you're pushing something against it the other way, you could potentially build up solids over time and fill it up. Not to say that when they connect, you couldn't just have to pig it out and clean it, not the end of the world, but we can certainly put those in there. It's not,
There's no check valve or anything to hold it back?
we would have the way it's set up, there's actual, basic check valve, ball valve set up right at the property line. So you'd have that
Right.
as a protection, so it wouldn't go anywhere.
Right, that's just one, but there's also a check valve in the tanks. So
Yes,
it's-
of course.
Yeah,
Yep,
actually, so
yep.
we're talking about 2 check valves, and that's what basically we require now on people with grinder pumps.
Yep,
We ask that
yep.
check valve after the shut off so that if there's any repairs that have to get done and so forth, so, that's not an issue,
Yeah.
But I think Jim made a good point. The point is that we should consider putting the laterals out on the.
Yeah, and
on
that's
the road.
fine, we can throw that in there
Right.
for
yeah,
next
I think
Tuesday.
that because digging up that state road, year after year, somebody wants to tie in now,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
they wanna tie in, that's just gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, that's a good point, very good point.
Does that add to the cost of what you're presenting to us at this point?
It would add to the phase 2,
Yeah.
but I can update that and get that to you before next Tuesday.
Okay, so we're
It
gonna,
It should also add to phase 1, because that too is a state road on Singletary Ave.
Yeah,
Yep,
but
that's
they're in there.
that's figured in there already
They're figured in
for the low pressure lines.
there. Right.
okay.
This is that, yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you, can you give us just a rehab of what you've kind of explained to us, questions get in there, and I'm just basically emphasizing the two phases of what we're actually doing, kind of combine that in your conversation so the general public can get a good concept of what we're doing here. To my thoughts, I mean, we wanted to do two sections, two phases, and this goal here is to make it more presentable because of the school needs, and to try to make this a little cost effective by merging the two together.
Good.
So if you could just give us a recap.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that very much. Oh, you
Totally.
got one question, though?
Before you do that, should we go over what the cost would be to fix the system at the school the way it is now without the,
Well, I think that's what we're getting
Wanting to
into here
sue
right
now.
now. I
Yeah.
think when Ray starts telling what the additional cost is and what the cost would be for upgrading of the treatment facility, I believe that's what you're
That's-
speaking about. Yeah, I think that's coming into play right now. Is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a
Two phases.
Yeah.
recap of what you're doing, and we, maybe even
Yeah, you're right.
anybody else can help information of what it might cost on the school system if they stay where they are and don't hook into the system.
Yeah.
It's gonna be important for the town people to understand the expenditure's gonna be there. If it's not this year, it's gonna be guaranteed almost 3 years from now to probably even be a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add that I agree that that's an important thing to, a starting point, but I would like the renovation of the wastewater treatment plant, but also the renovation or repair of the septic system here at the center of town, at the town hall, which is pretty much a failed system, so.
Right.
I don't know how we would even do that, but that should be part of the
Part of our
consideration.
presentation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah, that's an excellent concept. That way, the general public will get to understand that if we don't go with the sewer extension for the school in Sutton Center, this is what's gonna cost you to upgrade both systems, at the town hall and the school systems, 1 year or immediately, in some cases, because the town hall is a failed system now. The schools, has a limited life.
Correct.
So maybe we can, get some rough, ideas of that from just general information for that proposal. Just give when we give this whole presentation, you're looking at this, or you're
Yeah.
looking at this. And that would, I could understand where you probably wouldn't be as close to accuracy as far as the repairs, but it would be pretty close.
Yeah.
And including inflation,
Yeah.
for 3 years down the line, that's what it
Yeah.
is, especially the school.
Yeah.
Add 5%, 10%, whatever the economy's at. Okay, so if, I would, for my information, I appreciate a recap, and for the general public too, is merging up the idea all into one concept here.
Yep. So what we're calling phase one would be the sewering of the downtown center area, which would include a portion of Uxbridge Road, portion of Singletary Ave, from the intersection of Uxbridge and Singletary and Boston Road, all the way down to Clubhouse Lane Way. There would be gravity sewer for a portion of it, approximately half the distance, to about 254 Boston Road. From there, it would be a pumped force main to Clubhouse Way.
Okay.
That would be phase one. All the properties along that route would, on the gravity side, have stubs to their property line. The people who want to tie into the force main later would do so on an as-needed basis, or as they wish to do so. Laterals would be provided all the way down Singletary Ave along the low pressure, so much to your concerns, there wouldn't be any going back further into the state highway layout. Phase two would be to retrofit the existing headworks at the town of Sutton High School campus to direct the flows from that campus to this collection system called phase one. Along that route, there would be a force main from the school to the intersection of Boston Road and Singletary Ave, Uxbridge Road. From there, we would provide lateral connections, which are not included in this estimate, but we will go back and add those in there, such that people won't have to, so you won't have to dig up the road afterwards and tie in.
Okay, so based on, at this point here, we have got a combined proposal of $4,443,921, with the understanding that after your boring is done on this school section, there might be a cost downward.
Yeah,
that
so
point?
for our estimate for this, just to be hopefully conservative, we carried a foot of rock removal along the entire length of the force main, just because we don't know what the soil conditions are like out there. After the borings on Tuesday and Thursday and Friday, hopefully we don't hit any ledge and the material's good. We can readjust that number and then add in the lateral lines.
lateral lines.
Which hopefully, at the end of the day, would be a wash.
Okay.
So that this number doesn't go any higher and hopefully comes down.
Okay. So now, is there any other questions?
Oh, I think we should address what Horst was talking about here. We really didn't break down what the cost of this phase 2 is.
Okay,
Horst,
the
you
breakdown?
wanna bring that up, because you had some questions about that?
You know, the school.
Yeah, I think if you wanna,
Well, you've been talking to them down at the school, like, for what it would cost to fix the collection center down there, and treatment center, so.
I mean, as the commissioners know, even with our own facility down in Manchog, time becomes an issue. You know, the aging process eventually settles in, and you have to start upgrading, things become obsolete. And that's the same situation that the school's in right now. They're in about the same time frame that we are, which is about 15, 16 years of this process here. The cost of phase 2 of eliminating the gray water reuse and connecting the school is $1,149,000. You know, the upgrading alone is gonna be probably right around over $1 million. They're talking about the aging process. And then, again, from speaking with Roger and the only way to upgrade is to, upgrade up, take the roof off, start modifying things like that there. You know, but what we haven't been really speaking about either, and which is very important, so what the cost of this here on this phase here is probably equivalent to what you're gonna be putting into the school, if not more. So what we also hasn't been speaking about is the operation and maintenance cost of the school, which is almost $200,000 every year.
Every year?
Yeah, every year.
Every year.
So that, I mean, it'd be great savings for the school. I mean, the need's there. I mean, we would be incompetent, as a community, if we didn't address this right now and just throw it out there to the people. And I think it's a great idea of, putting this all into one project. I think it's important on the second phase is to make sure that the people's availability to tie into this force main is implemented and is also part of this proposal. So the total cost of this project is $4,443,000. You know what I mean? And I think it's a no-brainer for us in regards to, throwing that article out there.
And we must know at this time what it's costing us here at the town hall to be pumping. I mean, we're actually having this tank pumped quite a bit, correct?
Yeah, probably on average every other week.
Every other week. Okay.
And obviously during the rainy season, it's probably more frequently, and the drier season, it's less frequently. But I can get those numbers for you.
Okay. All right, and it could be part of our actual presentation of everything.
That's correct.
All right. We have another question, Nick?
I don't see any talk, or haven't heard any talk about the decommissioning of the existing sewer treatment plant at the school. If you're gonna put a pump station, which I presume will be on the Boston Road, the Putnam Hill Road side of the existing building, what are you gonna do with the old building? And I consider that would be very expensive to decommission that building.
They're not gonna get rid of their gray water.
No, well, Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Sure.
There's a couple of things we're gonna be utilizing. What's gonna be a cost savings to the town is there's already a generator there. We'll be utilizing that generator for the new tanks or check the conditions of those tanks. You've got an alarm system there also that we're basically gonna be utilizing. So, I mean, however the town decides to go in that manner wasn't even put on, wasn't even considered by us, meaning the sewer commissioners. I guess what we're checking out, Nick, is we're gonna be checking out the integrity of the pre-existing tanks, whether or not they need to be replaced or not. Is that correct, Ray? We're gonna be doing the inspections of those tanks.
They were already patched.
Yeah. And again, I mean, that's all some unanswered questions that need to be addressed, but, as for the building, what the school's gonna do with it, I mean, that's not us to address or to answer.
Well, Raymond, my meeting with him, he still feels that he needs the gray water system to flush the, the drinking water stinks up there, so
Right.
they still wanna keep the gray water.
Well,
some
they're
reason.
gonna, well,
When they're gonna put a new well in, if they're gonna, you know.
well, that's how they're gonna eliminate the gray water, you know, let's not get confused here right now.
Yeah.
You know, by eliminate the treatment process, the gray water process will be eliminated. What the town, or what their proposal, their engineers proposing is to
Oh.
drill another well adjacent to where the storage tanks are, which is 6,000 to 8,000 gallons storage. Instead of, developing the treatment water, they figure it's less cost effective just to drill a new well for $6,000 to $8,000, and then that would be sufficient enough to take care of their gray water reuse, which is going to be eliminated. So let's not get too confused here on that, but that's how that's going to get addressed, and it's a smart move. You know what I mean? For $8,000, you know, for a new well.
Jim, you wanted to say?
Well, just that, I think the new well will address the gray water issue. The drinking water is actually much better now that we put that filtration system in there as part of the middle school, high school project. So all the water is flow through that filtration system, so it comes out a lot cleaner than it ever was. So the drinking water is fine at the school department because of that filtration system that was installed, so.
That's good. You know, it seems like the particular issue then, as far as the building is concerned, it can be utilized for a certain point of it, or the equipment and so forth that we're trying to do, and then it's up to the school department to decide what they would like to do with that particular building.
Yeah, I mean, that's up between the town and the school department.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't even discussed or even looked at, so that's totally up to.
But it wouldn't be required to dismantle that building under any DEP things or anything like that. It could stay standing, correct, if it had to?
That's not my question, that's a DEP
Okay.
question on that there. I don't wanna,
Yeah.
comment on that.
All right.
The, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the pressure lines on Boston Road at 254 Boston Road, they become pressure lines to the villas, is that correct? Right?
Yeah, so from 254 on, there would be a force main
Okay.
in the road.
So are laterals going off of that as well?
We have planned for one
Wainwright.
manhole structure at, I think it's Enright, is that the name of the street?
Wainwright.
Wainwright,
Yeah.
my bad, right there. But not individual connections along that route.
I mean, it's not as imperative because it's a town road and we can dig it up.
Correct.
The challenge is, once this project is complete, we're gonna pave over that road,
Yeah.
curb to curb, and then if we dig out, for laterals and as we go down the road, that kind of
That's
undermines the integrity of that road. Just-
Now,
just a thought.
is this any incentive on, for someone to pre-advance, so we know in advance that how many laterals there will be, that they would agree to it? Are we, on the connection fees or anything like that was discussed in the past?
Well, I know, the survey was out there, and they surveyed that whole area, is that
So-
correct? In regards to that there, I mean, a lot of these houses are way off the road, up on the hill and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, and anything from 254 down to Villas would definitely require a grinder pump, you know what I mean? But, that's something, we can go out there, do a survey, see if the people are interested and whatever, but, as for means for them to tie in, again, like we said at the start of this meeting, the high pressure question is off the table. Anybody will be able to tie into the pressure line from Boston Road to the Villas.
All right, any other discussion? So we'll be hearing back, Larry, did you have,
I,
seem like you're,
yeah, I'm having a problem with not leaving laterals off. I just think it's
Well,
gonna
we
be
can-
an issue again.
Yeah, I mean,
you're talking about down Boston Road?
Yeah, and yet on the other I know a lot of houses down there, and like Don says, a lot of them are quite a ways off the road, and it's like, it's just,
Wainwright is up on a hill. There's only, 3 houses in that?
yeah, but then you get the next piece of property down that has a house for sale with 9 acres of land on it,
Yeah.
so there's a possibility of just as many houses in there as Wainwright has if you have water and sewer, so, where do you stop it?
Yeah.
The other question I wanna bring up is up the end over here, when we make the corner to go over to the school.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be a stub left off to continue on down Boston Road? Or is
We
that-
can certainly put one there.
I mean, that's something for the future too. You've got
Yeah.
that whole stretch too, and it's
Yeah.
not really hilly, and,
Yeah, I mean,
it's just,
at that point, that's just a fitting.
yeah.
You know, it's
driving
nothing.
around the town of Sutton,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful town, but
Yeah.
the roads are, let's keep them as smooth as possible.
Exactly.
We get a chance to do a road over it. My opinion is, let's get what we have to do underneath it, pave it, and be done with it, you know?
Yep.
It'd be a shame, like Jim says, to dig the road up in a year because somebody's system failed, and then
Yeah.
we're making another road cut, you know? It's just, I don't know,
Yeah,
I don't see laterals left off as a prohibitive cost when you're doing
No,
the job.
the thing I was just gonna say, when you look around on that area from where the pump station is
Yeah.
down to there, when you really look at that area, there's not a lot of
No,
houses along that route.
that's-
So you're talking about,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a blip on this, so we can just
Yeah.
double check it if it matches the contingency. I mean, it's easy enough to add. It really is.
Right, it's not gonna be that cost effective.
No,
and
because
that impact,
because as you
right.
look at that, there's a lot of wetlands and
correct.
other areas that aren't developed for a good stretch of the length of that line. So it wouldn't be adding, 50 connections. It'd probably be like 10 or 12. Which
That's the thing.
Yeah,
10
and that's fine.
connections
Yep.
is a,
Yeah.
you know,
I can look at that number, and if it doesn't affect the contingency too much, we can just it'll be taken out.
Well, I think Horst is right, we should make this a priority in regards to,
Yeah.
I think so
right
too.
now.
The other question I have is crossing the gas line up here. Is that gonna be an issue?
No, it's just when you go to construct it, National Grid wants to be out here. They'll have certain techniques, like most of we just did one up in Bolton. They made you can't dig adjacent to it. You have to do vacuum excavation and make sure you're under it by 2 feet. But no, it's not. It's not anything that would
So you know
prevent
the
that.
depth of that gas line up there?
I don't know the depth of it, but that was something from another project we've done recently with a high pressure gas line. Part of the NSTAR National Grid permitting would be that they would make you excavate the area with vacuum extraction, find the depth, and either be so much above it or so much below it, depending on where it actually lies.
That's Tennessee Gas, and there
Yeah.
are two very large gas lines there,
Yeah,
At what point?
down the road here.
just before Boston Road.
Yeah, you can see the vents sticking out.
Putnam
Putnam
Hill
Hill
Road.
Road, right.
Somebody flagged it already. This
Yeah,
flags
and I
so-
spoke to the gentleman last week and said I'd be 100 feet away from those things, not going near 'em.
So you're not gonna do a test boring on top of the gas line?
I'm gonna try not to.
Well, again, that would be a big issue if we were to run gravity down there. But,
That's-
just being a force main, you've got the flexibility of just keeping the depth, so that's a big part of it. I believe, Mr. Chairman, we're on the agenda for the selectmen's meeting, I believe for the 20th, I believe, you got your calendar in front of you?
Next Tuesday.
Yes. So what do we have to get here is an update from you,
Yep.
right? And I guess, so long as we understand them, we want to see the laterals as a must.
Yeah,
all
that's
right?
not a problem.
And point taken as far as a lateral there to go to continue on Boston Road at the
Yeah.
Putnam Hill curve there. And any adjustments that can be made because of the boring.
Yeah.
And I guess that would be it. The most important thing
I
is,
believe at the selectmen's meeting, we're asking Roger Raymond from the school department to be present at that meeting. Chris McClure, who the engineering for the water for the school, also to attend that. So I guess all parties that are involved in this here will be out there to answer anybody's questions and so forth. So it ain't just gonna be on site, it's gonna be.
would we be able to get this information about the approximate cost of the town hall to do a new system here, septic, and the school information of roughly for the same presentation?
Well,
So we got time for that?
Well, the school, that figure needs to come from the school. You know what
Right.
I mean, we don't know, we know what the operation cost is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, but for the upgrade and so forth.
But can we inform them to be prepared to answer that, give that
Well,
information?
I believe so. I mean, I'm sure Roger and Ted will
Yeah.
get together and, have the figures for the Board of Selectmen and for the people. more so.
And those gentlemen are in favor of what we're trying to attempt to
Oh,
do?
they're in favor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Jim?
To you, Mr. Chairman, you know, this is an update to the Board of Selectmen. You know, it's not a do-or-die situation.
Okay.
It's just,
Just an
you
update,
know,
all right.
on-site giving an update to them, where they're at in the process. Ultimately, if we're shooting for fall town meeting, we will have we have another meeting, I think, on September 6th, is it?
Yeah.
The first Tuesday in September. You know, if there needs to be clarification,
Okay.
that's another night that we could do it. I'm
All right.
presenting a draft warrant to the board on the following meeting, the second meeting in September. So, you know, versus last time when we came in August, in April, I'm sorry, where we needed their approval to go on the warrant. Now we're just giving updates, answering questions that the board might have, and kind of a back and forth. So it's not a do or die situation.
Okay, great,
It's,
yeah.
you know, we've got another
Mhm.
meeting or two to kind of work these issues out, but I just wanted to start it earlier, to get any unanswered questions from the board, you know,
Excellent,
presented.
yeah. Okay, so we'll be ready to go, and as soon as you can get the information, once, if you get back to Donald.
So, looking at the probes, you know, hopefully knock on wood, they're done by midday Friday.
Okay.
So we'll have plenty of time to look at these numbers and prepare something to have it on, you know, on everyone's desk Monday, by
Donald,
Monday
if
at
you can
noon
get
time.
that to us right away, I don't want to wait until the selectmen meeting to look at it, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
You see it all way up
Yeah.
ahead of time. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, and
Oh,
you've
great
been very
being here.
accommodating to all the changes and requests, and,
Well, we just want to see a good project in the end and
Yeah.
make sure everyone's happy.
And my only request is if we can get a number of the potential people that can tie in.
Oh, yeah, I'll put
You know,
that
that's-
together.
That's very important.
I'll put that together.
going both directions.
Yeah, I do have it, it's just
Yeah.
Good.
locked up over there.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, Donald, we're looking for an update on the I&I. That was some camera work did that get done?
Right now, they're doing the cam work as we speak.
As we speak.
They've been there for the last 3-4 days.
Okay, all right.
And, again, the problem that we have with the I&I was it was really wet, and the truck, they had to get in there worrying about it sinking and so forth, but seemed to have dried out a lot. Mr. Valancourt is, gave us our blessings, and I go ahead and moving forward on that. So as we speak, it's being done.
Okay. Next, I just wanted to do a follow-up on the Wedgewood Farm development, which, wasn't at our meeting the last time, and we basically gave our permission for that to go into the septic. Where do we stand on that? Is that going through?
The Armsy Road project you're speaking about?
Yeah, right, the Randy Waterman and Wedgewood Farm
I'm not familiar
development.
on where we're at this point here. I know everything went to the selectmen and the approval for the pump stations. I don't know I don't know if they're at the planning board conservation stage. I don't know where we are from here.
Yeah, right now, it's kind of at the planning level. Randy Waterman has asked for some clarification for the easement that exists down there. So it's going to town council. We're still very supportive of this project, but there are some details that need to be worked out right now.
Okay,
The town acquiring those pump stations, I don't think has happened yet. It's still in the planning session, but we are planning on doing that.
all right. I think that's a good positive
Oh, absolutely.
for our system. Okay, see, next on agenda, any correspondence?
No, I believe we
I
have
noticed there
some.
was an abatement?
Yes, we have some abatements.
Yes, okay.
We got 3 abatements here. 2 of them was due because when the water company shuts them off, they don't notify the sewer department. So the only for justification for an abatement is if the water's turned off and the meter's removed, and that's the case in 2 areas. And the 3rd abatement is just because we got a incorrect reading. So one of these here is 590. That's because the unit that was shut off was a 2 unit. So,
Okay.
and they were built $590 for 2 units, so, you can look them over. And we did try to work with the water companies, we want to get a little more communication in regards to shutting off water and things like that. You know, I mean, if the water shut off, meters removed, well, you're not using nothing
Right.
into the system. And if we're not notified about it, well, we don't know, so
Yeah,
it
it
goes
just
into the
bills
billing
automatic
process,
billing,
and
yeah.
that's why we're here.
There should be some kind of a automatic, it's same with, new homeowners coming in, purchasing property and so forth.
Yeah, when you purchase the property, then they'll move into 6 months later, and then,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's,
Yeah.
then they tell us after they get the bill, it's, and we can do about it.
While we're just signing this, how do we make out with the vehicle purchase?
I tell you, I've been so overwhelmed and being down a man and so forth, I haven't even looked into it, it just,
Well, at least you're not walking though, right?
no,
Okay.
no, but
Then
I'm
we're
not,
fine.
it's, new vehicle is nice that we need it, but
Breaks
I'm not,
down, don't prepare.
it does, it's no big deal to me, it's absolutely right.
We just don't want to see you walking, Donald.
No,
All right. Ooh. I wouldn't try reading that signature. All right. Anything on old business at this point? We've covered everything that, talk, on the calendar events, I will start looking on the calendar events, or Kyle, maybe you can take a glance at that and see that should be on our agenda automatically. Even if it's just the annual review, just to have the discussion. Moving on to new business. One will be setting our next meeting outside of, we do have a Board of Selectmen meeting we're gonna attend on the 21st,
I
correct?
believe it's the 21st,
All right, and
or the 20th, or whatever, yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay? And that's
7
for the,
p.m., by the way.
for the update of this sewer extension.
Right.
And our next meeting I've got down here for the sewer commissions will be September 11th. And that would be the second Wednesday of the month,
It's your
And-
9/11 day, isn't it?
September 11th.
Yeah, well, don't you, I know you usually coordinate something on the 9/11 too.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Boy, I've lost that one. Well, actually, I'm not doing it anymore because I'm retired from the mill now.
Yeah.
So, we can change the date. It's a good point that a lot of people do participate in that. I think it's important for us to have a meeting because of everything we're doing here.
Right.
You want to have another meeting?
It's up to you, gentlemen, whatever you wanna do. You wanna go to the week before, you wanna go Labor Day weekend, you don't wanna do that, so
Yeah.
we can do it, should be
But if-
after the 11th, whatever, if so be. If you wanna meet on 11th, fine by me, and it's,
See, this is
Okay. We miss Amanda with her calendar here. There we go.
I left my,
Okay, so we have either the 10th or Tuesday, or we could do it on Thursday, the 12th. If the members seem okay with either one of those dates?
Is that
Tuesday would
the
be
second
fine.
Tuesday?
The second Tuesday would be the September 10th, right?
As long as, it'll be in the afternoon,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m.
Yeah, 2 p.m., sounds good.
so
Right.
9:10?
So it'll be September 10th at 2 p.m.
okay.
I'll book the room
Well,
for
fif-
you, because Amanda's not around, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
All right, that will work. Very good. And any other new business?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say that I want to thank Kyle for doing the minutes of the meeting and, the minutes, the agenda and so forth. I mean, he did a really outstanding job, I
Yeah.
thought, here
Yeah.
on that this, so. Personally, I want to
Yep.
say thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and catching things we need to stay on top of, would be great. And, see here. Well, at this point, I'll motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. It's 9:40.